I love the fact that King Kong has doubled down on using wax canvas as a material, so much so that they released a new collection. This is the Shift 27-liter backpack, and I think this might be their most EDC, everyday carry focus bag yet. I actually think that this is a really cool bag, but it does have some quirks to it. Some things that you're gonna have to understand about this bag if you're thinking about purchasing it. Now, by no means are they a con or a negative to the bag. I just want you to have an understanding and expectation of this bag. So right away, you're gonna be drawn to these black compression straps. And not only are they a visual aspect of the bag and a functional one, they're also gonna be a point of interaction with this bag, because this bag is a half zip. So both of these top compartments here are going to be half zip. So when you want to get into this bag, you can see that you're stopped by the compression strap. So you still have top access to your bag, but if you want to gain full access to your bag, you're going to have to undo the compression straps on each side to get that zipper down all the way and get full access into the main compartment and to your front admin compartment. Now, this can be a point of contention or a point of, friction, depending on how many times you're in and out of your bag. My counter to that is that if you're using this like in an office setting or you're at your workplace, just leave the compression straps off for the day and you can get in and out of your bag freely. And then when you're ready to go home, you can just easily buckle them back up. Now, not only are the top compression straps going to be a point of, interaction with getting in and out of the main compartment, the water bottle pockets also have a strap across for them. So let me move over to the overhead cam so you can get a glimpse of what I'm talking about. Now, while you can undo the top compression strap, the bottom one is not going to be removable. So to access your water bottle pocket, you're going to have to loosen the bottom compression strap. You're also going to have to loosen up this elastic cord here, and then you can unfold your water bottle pocket. Now, the good thing about these water bottle pockets is that they're super generous. You can actually fit a whole 1 liter Nalgene on each side of this bag, your largest shaker bottle if you wanted to, even when this bag's fully packed out. But when you load your bottle in, so it'll take the 1 liter Nalgene, no problem. Then you have to cinch this down. You don't have to, but for a little bit of security, you can cinch that down to give this pocket a little bit of tension. And then you'll have to cinch down the compression strap. And depending on the size of your bottle, you'll have to adjust the strap keeper here to keep everything nice and easy. Again, I'm just a little bit OCD. I like my bag looking nice and clean. So these are steps that I would do every single time I'm taking my bottle in and out of this pocket. So you have to reverse engineer this once you get your bottle out. Again, I like to keep my bag looking tidy. So undo the strap, remove the bottle, fold the pocket in, tension the strap, this elastic strap again, and then tighten up your strap, your compression strap, and then adjust your web keeper to keep it nice and clean looking. Now, I know you're probably thinking that is way too many steps just to use a water bottle pocket, but I assure you that once you start using this bag, it all becomes like muscle memory. It comes an afterthought. You're not even thinking about it. It's like a NASCAR team who changes their tire out. And like I said, because of how generous these pockets are, you can actually load up 2 big water bottles, your shaker bottle, your Yetis, whatever. And I have a 26-ounce Yeti Rambler here on this side. And then of course I have that large 1 liter Nalgene on this side with a fully packed out bag, and they fit no problem. Even though it might take a few steps to use these water bottle pockets, I think they're great. Their size, the way they can tuck away when not used is awesome. Probably my most favorite feature of this bag. And this is probably one of the only gym focused features of this bag, I would say, because these water bottle pockets are so large, you can fit your Nalgenes, your shaker bottles. Other than that, there's no real gym focused features in this bag, kind of like what we saw when I reviewed the core backpack, how we had that lifting belt section, we had rolls of molly for attachment points. That one was a little bit more tactical, a little bit more gym focused, I would say, as well, with some EDC features. And this one's going to be a little bit opposite. This is going to be more everyday carry focused with some gym like features like these water bottle pockets. While we're talking about the outside of the bag, let's talk about this bag's primary material. This is a Haley Stevenson's wax canvas. And if you know anything about wax canvas, which I hope you do, Haley Stevenson's wax canvas is considered to be some of the best wax canvas in the world. This particular manufacturer has been producing this cotton wax canvas for, I want to say, over 100 years. I don't remember the exact date, but if you look online, any bags made in Haley Stevens wax canvas usually cost a pretty penny. And this one's actually quite the opposite here. So at initial release, this bag is going to come in this tan colorway that I have for you here, and also a black colorway. And they just announced a limited edition camo version of the bag. Now, if you're gonna buy this bag, get the camo version. I reviewed the camo version of the core backpack, and I love that material. I love that pattern. Now, I'm not even a camo person per se, but I just really love how subtle. I love the pattern, and I'm kind of bummed because when I got this one, the camo version was not available. But I mean, to me personally, if you're gonna get this bag, I would heavily lean towards the camo version. Now, if you're unfamiliar with wax canvas, this is a canvas bag that has a wax layer applied to it. So over time, it's gonna patina. It's gonna pick up scuffs and marks, and that's part of the allure of the bag. And once you start using this bag, it's gonna break in very nicely. Now, I know my scuffs here look kind of oddly placed because this bag hasn't fully broken in yet. But like I said, once this gets all used and the scratches and scuffs all become more uniform, it's gonna look like a well-used like baseball glove. It's gonna break in really nice. It's not gonna look kind of weird. Now, that's an aesthetic that may appeal to some and maybe not to others, but I think it's a very cool look to a bag. And as far as the rest of the materials, King Kong spared no expense. You are gonna have these beautiful YKK zippers up top. Everywhere on the bag is all YKK zippers. You have aluminum hardware here on all of your G-hooks, your compression straps, your buckles, even right down to your adjustment buckles on your shoulder straps. They're all going to be aluminum. Now again, because your aluminum buckles are here on your shoulder straps, when you put this bag down, you may deal with that banging sound, and your buckles are going to get scratched up. Mine already have some dings from putting this bag down on different rough surfaces, but again, that's all a part of this bag. It's going to break in. It's going to look like it's going to look like a bag well used, and not just some closet princess that you never get to use. So this is bag definitely made to get out there and get done. So this bag does retail for $250. Now, I know that's a lot of money, especially for a backpack. But, you know, having the experience that I have in my armchair market analysis, I think this is actually a tremendous value at $250. Based on the material, the quality, the unique design that you're not really seeing elsewhere on the market. I think if you roll that into a package, I think $250 is actually a steal for this bag. Now, it was on sale recently for the 4th of July for $200. So maybe that's something you wait for the future. If it's on sale once, it may go on sale again. But even at full retail price, I would feel totally fine spending $250. Now, outside of these compression straps and the water bottle pockets, the only external features you're gonna have on this bag are this top carry grab handle here. Now, it is a nice folded over webbing. I think it's sufficient enough to handle this bag. Now, when I first unboxed this bag, I was a little disappointed not to see the leather accents like we saw on the core backpack. We had leather, you know, for the zipper pullers here versus where we have paracord, and just, you know, leather web keepers all about, and now it's all nylon webbing. And like I said, a little disappointed in the beginning, but the more I spent time with this bag, the more I spent looking at this bag, I actually appreciate the nylon webbing accents a little bit more than the leather. I think it just ties in a little bit better with the aesthetic. Now, this does have a little bit of a tactical vibe because of the compression straps, but overall, mixed in with this wax canvas, especially in this tan colorway, I just think it looks phenomenal. Now, you do have a 2x3 patch up at the top. It is removable. It is like cow grain leather, and if you wanted to splash it up and keep it spicy, you can throw your own morale patch in. I know that morale patches are a thing in the fitness community. Well, they're also a thing in the backpack community. So if you wanted to spice your bag up there with an UnPack'D patch, you can do so. So I really like the direction aesthetically. It does have a little bit of a dad bod here because of this front compartment, but that also gives this front compartment a little bit of volume, which is going to be great because overall this bag is listed at 27 liters. Now, this is my 100th dedicated product review, and I don't do volume measurements per se, but I have enough experience with different bags where I can pretty much tell you that what the bag's volume is based on my experience. And unfortunately, this is not a 27 liter bag. I think this bag packs up best as a 20 liter. And if you throw in this front compartment and these two water bottle pockets, you're probably somewhere in the range of 22 and 23. So I really do believe that this is not 27 liters. So if you're somebody who is expecting to get 27 liter bag, you may want to consider another bag. I did read that King Kong is gonna make a bigger version of this bag, so you may wanna wait for that. On the flip side, if you're somebody who was looking at this bag and thought, 27 liters is a bit too much, I would say it's more in that 20 to 23 volume range, so that actually may be a huge win for you, depending on how and what you carry. Now, it's pretty obvious, but this bag stands up extremely well on its own, even when it's not fully packed out. It has a fully squared off bottom that's nicely padded, so it pretty much keeps this bag upright no matter if the main's empty and this front pocket is full. And because of its relatively slim profile, I think it's gonna work in any gym locker. Maybe won't pass as a personal item because this front pocket is a little bit too bulky. But if you're at a machine and you're putting this bag down, just have confidence that it shouldn't face plant on you. Now, before we jump into the interior, let's look at the harness system and talk about this bag's overall comfort. Now, these straps don't have a lot of curvature to them, but they are huge. They're wide. They don't have a lot of padding. And in my experience, you know, it's striking the right balance between thickness and width on these shoulder straps. Now, I actually haven't measured them, but we can do so now. These shoulder straps are actually coming in at almost 3 inches. That's 2 3/4 inch right there on these straps, so they're pretty wide. And like I mentioned earlier, you do have those metal adjustment buckles down at the bottom. So when it came to this bag's overall comfort, out of the box, it was a little tight. It was a little thick, especially right here in the armpit area. I could feel the metal hardware digging into my side area here because I like to wear my bags high and tight. So with the combined with the thickness of the shoulder straps, I had a little bit of digging, but this was only the first couple of days. Into my second and third week of actually testing this bag, I found that I didn't feel that anymore. So I think that it was a process of breaking in these a little bit stiff straps, or I just got used to it. But I think I think it was more on the breaking the straps inside. But week 2, week 3 of testing this bag, no issue. The comfort was fine, fully loaded. And remember, part of my commute every day is a 2.2 mile walk. So I had some real time with this bag. This isn't just going from the car to the house and the car to the office. This is actual real time carrying the bag. So again, this may be personal to my body type and my experience, but you know, after a few days, I didn't feel the buckles or the thickness or width of the straps digging into the sides here. There is a little bit of branding down at the bottom here with this leather King Kong patch. And when you get to the back panel underneath the shoulder straps, you have this nice breathable mesh all along the back panel. It is nicely padded. And then you have this lumbar support here that is a nice thick pad as well. So I had a little concern with this huge wax canvas lumbar support here. You know, being in South Texas, we're already pushing 100 degrees in temperature. I was afraid that this back panel wasn't going to breathe too well. You know, but actually walking with this bag in 95-degree heat, 80% humidity, yes, it did make my back sweat, but to be fair, any bag in this climate make my back sweat. And to be honest with you, I felt this because of this large lumbar support here, provided enough separation to give me some airflow. So compared to like a GR1, I felt the GR1 is a little bit warmer than this bag, and that's not even wax canvas. So yes, it's gonna make your back sweat, but I don't think it's gonna do so any more than any other bag. Now, the last thing to note on this back panel here is the absence of a luggage pass-through. And that's the same thing that I called out the core backpack for, because I felt that it was a good size and kind of profile to take on the plane with you. And especially with this bag here being such a looker, this is a bag that I would be proud to carry and want to carry when I'm traveling. You know, I like to look good when I'm carrying. I like this bag's overall aesthetic. So again, here, I think it's another miss by not including the luggage pass-through, especially since if you read the advertising materials on the website, that this bag is meant to be your training bag, your commuting bag, your travel bag. So it's kind of wanting to be a Goldilocks do-all bag. So I think not having that sternum strap and especially not having that luggage pass-through really limits this bag's capabilities for those extended things like travel. All right, so let's finally get into the interior of this bag. And I apologize, I've known from several comments over the years that people like to get into the interior a lot quicker into these reviews. But because so much of this bag relies on the materials and the aesthetics, I felt it was important we cover that first. But I undid the compression straps here. This is a half zip bag, so you're gonna have to, you know, your zippers are gonna stop right there, and then you get into the main cavity of this bag. Now I have this bag packed out. Let me unload it here. I got a change of gym clothes. I have my lunch box down at the bottom. And then I have my tech kit here. So as you can see on the interior of this bag, it's pretty simple. You do have a zippered pocket here on the bottom and also a zippered pocket up top. And that's where I just kept my first aid boo-boo kit. Nothing major in there. So a nice blend of organization on the inside. This is where your laptop sleeve resides in the back here. And I have my 14-inch MacBook Pro currently loaded up here. Let me get this out for you. And this bag is advertised to hold up to a 16-inch MacBook, which we can actually test. Now this is my 16-inch MacBook Pro. This is cut to the exact dimensions of a 16-inch MacBook. And you can see it will easily fit down into the inside of this backpack here. Now I do want to note something, that this laptop compartment is not suspended off the bottom. It does go all the way down to the bottom, but I'm not going to give this a red card here. I'm mixed on this one here. It's not suspended, but the bottom is nicely padded, that I never really felt where this computer would be banging on surfaces that I put this bag down, and I've done it on, you know, concrete, rock, and of course all sorts of different desks. So you do have the protection of the bottom padding, but it is not suspended fully from the bottom. Now, I think the reasoning behind that was so that this bag could fit this 16-inch MacBook Pro. I think if you were to suspend this laptop compartment, that's really gonna limit this bag to like your 14-inch devices. So I think it was a trade-off. Again, I think your laptop will be perfectly fine, but just something I wanted to make you aware of, that is not suspended. Now, outside of these two zippered pockets here and the laptop section, there is no other organization on the inside of this bag, but you do have this beautiful color matched coyote ripstop nylon material. And of course your laptop compartment does have some mesh and padding. It is actually the same mesh used on the back panel. They just added some padding to the inside there. There is a little bit more King Kong branding up at the top, but pretty simple main interior. And because of this interior, this is where I felt the bag was a little shy of that 27 liters, because all I could really fit in there was my lunch and my tech kit here with all of my stuff I need for the day, and a change of clothes, and that pretty much rounded out the loading of this front compartment here, main compartment, sorry. You do have some more room where you can stuff some additional gear at the top there, so it's not fully maxed out. But my default bag is a 26-liter bag, and I definitely had to change things up, like using my Carhartt lunchbox. That's a lunchbox I use when bags don't have a lot of depth. And like I said, I don't think this bag is touching 27 liters in the least. Now, fortunately, you do have this front compartment that does have a little bit of its own dedicated compartment, and it unzips about 3/4 of the way, so you get full access onto the inside of this compartment here. Now, on this side here, you have another padded sleeve. Now, I normally just kept my notebook, my flashlight, and my pen, but because of the size of this padded compartment here, let's switch to the overhead, probably be better. You can actually fit like a larger iPad. So I have a 3D printed iPad Pro 13-inch. This is the largest iPad that Apple makes. This is my 3D print. No case, but you can see that it will fit down into this padded sleeve on the secondary compartment. So if you want to carry a second device, you do have an additional padded sleeve there to do so. Now, on the opposite side of the bag, you have one zippered compartment here, but because of this volume, I chose to use it for my over-the-ear headphones here. So again, it's nice to have this pocket, but it's all going to sink down to the bottom, so it would compete with volume for my headphones. So I found that this was just the best way to pack it out for me. Of course, your mileage may vary depending on what you carry. Now, there is one additional pocket on this bag, and it actually turned out to be my most used pocket. It has a small hidden pocket right up front here. Now, this is going to be your quickest access pocket because you don't have to mess with the compression straps. I mean, you can still get into the other compartments, you know, because you're going to stop about here, but this one has no obstruction, even though the band, you know, compression strap runs in the front. Super cool pocket. This is my most used pocket. So on the inside here, you do have two drop-ins. It's probably not that obvious on camera, but there's two slip pockets in there, and I have my sunglasses loaded up in one, and actually where I kept my wallet on the other slip pocket. And then the bottom is just free flowing, so I just kept some other things in there like my gum, chapstick, and this is my little tin that I keep my toothpicks in, but nothing major. But I liked it because it was a quick place to grab my sunglasses on the go, and I didn't have to worry about any compression straps or any obstructions to get into this compartment. Now, as far as the internal organization is concerned, I think King Kong did a really good job here of providing you zippered pockets. There's some slip pockets. There's even that padded secondary device pocket. So overall, I really do like the organization. Now, if you're somebody who's going to be living in and out of this bag, that's going to be a great value to you. As you can see, I use more tech pouches, but I still found ways to optimize my stuff in this bag. So whether you're a pouch person or, you know, living out of the bag's pockets, I think this could be a good option for either style of carry. So the final verdict on the King Kong Shift 27-liter backpack. You know, this bag is very high on the bag joy factor, and I talk about that from video to video. The bag joy factor is how much joy you get out of looking, interacting, and just kind of carrying the bag. And there's a lot of joy in this bag here because I am a sucker for the Haley Stevenson's wax. I love the aluminum hardware, even though that it bangs and you put it down on different surfaces, it's gonna get scratched up. It's gonna give this bag character as it patinas over time. So for me, interacting with the bag and just the way it looks, it goes off the charts on the bag joy factor. So that alone is a way to carry the bag. You know, sometimes I asked my wife, you know, why are you wearing those high heels when they make your feet hurt? And she says, well, I like the way they make me look. So, you know, compression straps and having to undo them to get into this bag may not be for everybody. And you're like, oh, that's just more friction points. But, you know, if you talk to somebody like Alex from Out in the Lights, aesthetics are just as important as comfort to him. So aesthetically, I think this is a great looking bag, and it's worth the trade-off of having to do a couple of you know, compression strap buckles to get into the bag. I think the trade-off is worth it there for having such a unique looking and uniquely designed bag in these materials. I mean, the joy factor alone is enough for me to carry this bag. Now, if you're somebody who needs a more tech focused, more speedy access, perhaps on body access, this is not going to be the bag for you. And honestly, you're probably not even considering this bag. But for the rest of you watching this review and wondering, you know, is this bag worth it? I think absolutely. Is this bag going to require you to take a few seconds to appreciate it? For sure. Did the comfort take a few days to break in? Sure. But all in all, as a package, I really like what King Kong did here. And I would love to sit down and talk to the designers over at King Kong, to be honest with you, because they're producing some unique designs. They're trying to blur the lines more between what gym and everyday carry look like. And then obviously there is a material nerd on that design staff because they're doubling down on the wax canvas, the YKK zippers, the aluminum hardware there. So somebody over at King Kong definitely has some taste, and I would love to pick their brain and see where they're going with their newest designs, especially as they're pushing more into that EDC crowd. And maybe with the addition of a luggage pass-through and some travel features, we can see them start to blur the lines even more with a EDC travel, training, gym type of a bag. Now, if you own this bag and you happen to still be watching this video, I would love to know what your experience is with these shoulder straps. You know, I noted it took about 3 days for it to finally feel comfortable on my body, and I would love to know what your experience was like. Did you experience the same, or was it, you know, comfortable or uncomfortable right out of the box? Now, if you have any more questions about the King Kong Shift 27-liter backpack, please put those down in the comments. The goal of this channel is to always help you find the right gear for you, so I respond to every single one. Now, if you found any value in today's video and you want to see more videos like it, please consider hitting like and subscribe, as that directly supports me and the channel. I also want to say thank you to King Kong for sending the Shift 27-liter out for me to test and review. And if this wasn't quite the bag you were looking for, maybe you want a little bit more gym focused features, you might want to check out my core review. That one is a little bit EDC carry, but has a little bit more gym focused features. And if you want a bag that's more everyday carry focused, I have an entire playlist of everyday carry bags you can check out as well. So again, thank you so much for sticking around to the end of this video, and I can't wait to see you on my next review.